Hey, it's Mark Ferguson with Invest for More, and this is me pulling up to a house flip I bought about 3 weeks ago. And I'm showing you this because the sellers had a post-occupancy agreement, have blown way past that, and are still living in the house. So I'm going to talk about what's happening, how we're trying to fix the situation, what's happened to me in the past in this type of situation, and we'll show you what it's looked like the last few days. And there's the house when I first bought it, and I knew they had 5 days still to move out. And it really looked a lot better than it does now. So we'll show you what it looks like now. And I am in my 5.0 Mustang right now. It was Fun Car Friday, and I had Fun Car Friday with the Supra. But this has been an interesting situation, and we did just post an eviction notice as well. So that is part of this process too. Now, we love the likes, love the shares, love the comments. Keep those coming. And now we'll show you how it's progressively gotten worse and worse and how we're going to handle this. All right, so this was me showing up on the 6th day, I believe. This is a day that they're supposed to be moved out, and they said they would be out. This is a house I bought from a wholesaler, so the wholesaler had communicated with them, and he had created this post-occupancy agreement with them where they had 5 days after closing to move out. $5,000 was held back in escrow, and every day after that 5th day, they owe me $250. You can see they had a lot of stuff out that day. And so each day after that they're not out, they keep owing me $250. Now, every single day, not every day, but I drove by this house probably every day the last week or 8 days or 9 days. And I've talked to them maybe 4 or 5 times. And every time they've told me, oh, don't worry. This is our last day. We're for sure done. We'll be out of here tomorrow. Every single time. And obviously that has not gone how they thought it would go. And again, this is me kind of pulling up here each day. And these videos have been kind of fun to make. It's been kind of a fun series. And I'm not going to lie, it's been amazing for engagement and views and different things on my social media platforms and YouTube here. But it's been real interesting to see what's happening. You can see kind of more and more and more stuff shows up. And what the house was like. I've been in the house. I saw the house before I bought it. And the house inside wasn't horrible. It needs some work, needs some updating. But there wasn't a ton of stuff in it. But the backyard was crammed full of stuff. So that's where all these things are coming from, I think, is the backyard. You can see tires there. Of course, there are tires. And, at first they said, oh, we just need 3 more days. We want you to extend this and not charge us. I'm like, no, I'm charging you. There's no extending it. And this is the reason why, because you extend it and it just keeps getting extended and extended and extended. And they said they couldn't get a trailer, all kinds of different things. But they finally did have a trailer right here. And it's full of tires. It has tires on it. Like, you have all this stuff, and you chose to move your tires first. That's just ironic, because at one point I had a 500 tire eviction at another property last year where someone was evicted from their tire shop. They moved all their tires onto my rental property, and we had to evict them and the tires. So I have a long history with tires. Now, again, this keeps going, and I have a few different vehicles I've been driving, and every day it's like, oh, maybe it's getting better. And then the next day it's like, no, it's not getting better. It's getting worse. So we'll see how this plays along. But basically, their $5,000 in escrow will run out on day 25 because they had 5 days post-occupancy where they didn't have to move. And then the $250 a day deduction from that $5,000 escrow started on day 6. So we're on day 17 today. So they've got 8 more days until they run through all that escrow. And then this is where I thought they were actually making progress. There's less stuff, fewer cars. It changed the next day. But after that, they still owe me $250, right? Even after that escrow is used up, they still owe me $250. But it's a lot harder to collect that money. Then you have to ask them to pay you and go to court, file a judgment, and that gets a lot trickier. So there are things you can do in this situation to quicken up the process, hopefully get them out of there. And that is what we did today. And here, yeah, this was over the weekend. I pulled up. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I thought things were getting better. I thought I might be surprised and see they're gone. And there's like more cars and more stuff everywhere. And what's ironic too is that there are 2 white Jeeps that had temp tags on them that were bought like right after closing. And the reason I know that is because Nikki, her husband, got a new car and the temp tags were the same day. And we can figure out, oh, this is what day he bought his car, and the temp tags matched. But the neighbor actually commented on my TikTok video and said, no, they've had those Jeeps for a long time. They just keep getting new temp tags to try and avoid taxes. So I don't know when the Jeeps were bought. I thought at first they took all the money from closing and bought them, but maybe that's not the case. All right, to speed up the process, this is me posting the notice to quit eviction. So it's like you have 3 days to pay. If it was late rent, I think it's 10 days in Colorado. Again, always talk to an attorney for specifics. We have an attorney who helps us with this stuff. But because it's not late rent, we post this. If they don't leave by 3 days, we can go to the court. We can file for an eviction. That might take a week or two, and then getting the eviction date takes a week or two from that. So even though they still have escrow money they're using, we can still post this and start the eviction because they're supposed to be out after day 5. So yes, they're paying us, but we can still start the eviction process, get that moving now, and hopefully we don't have to do the eviction. Hopefully they're gone, but just in case we have that started now, we can get that rolling in case we have to use it. You post it, you sign it, take a picture. They weren't here at this point. It was kind of earlier in the morning, so nobody was outside, nobody was working. And then have those pictures for the judge or court, whatever we need, showing we posted it, and then the eviction will proceed from there. Now, there's been some other properties and issues where this has happened to, and I'll show you here. And there you can see me. Oh yeah, I'm filming all the stuff I see. Legally, I can film things, take pictures from the street, and post those. Right, I was on the sidewalk. I was not on their property, so I can show what it looks like from that viewpoint, from that range, and you can see there's actually less stuff than I have seen most of the times I go there, but still quite a few things, and we'll see what it looks like tomorrow, I guess. We do have another eviction scheduled for tomorrow on the Ocho, so we'll have that too. The Ocho has one eviction for a tenant who hasn't paid for a very, very, very long time, and then we have the other squatter issue over there too, which is getting more interesting the more we learn as well. So we'll have more for that about that tomorrow too. And maybe while the sheriffs are helping out with our eviction, they can help out with that other situation. We'll see, but we'll have lots of exciting stuff going on tomorrow as well. We checked by there and the tenant had not moved out at all, so I don't think it'll be a fun one. We'll see how all that goes. Now this is a house where I made a huge mistake on. I learned a lot from this one. I bought this one from a wholesaler as well. I was super busy. I never checked it to make sure the seller moved out before closing on it. Huge, huge mistake. I know it's 100% my fault, and I did learn from that situation, but I'd asked the wholesaler if he's out. He said, yeah, he's out. No problem. I show up. Not out. So we had to end up doing an eviction on this one. There's no post-occupancy agreement, no per diem, nothing like that. Just all money on me. The seller sold, decided not to move out, and we had to do an eviction. And we didn't know if there was issues or problems or if he was still in there when we did the eviction, because it was weird. There's so much stuff left over, but he was gone. I'm not sure what happened to him. He never talked to us, never communicated with us at all. We tried to offer him cash for keys, tried to help him out, just nothing. So we ended up doing the eviction. This is the dumpster showing up on that one. Moved a lot of stuff out of that house. And when the eviction happens, we put a dumpster down. You don't have to use a dumpster, but it makes it much easier. You have to leave the stuff outside for 24 hours after the eviction. So we can put it in a dumpster that still counts as being outside. The occupant can come take whatever they want in those 24 hours. After 24 hours, we can remove the dumpster, take that stuff away. That just makes it much easier than moving it outside onto the lawn and then coming back and moving it again into a dumpster later on. And we've had some other evictions that took way more than one dumpster. And I think we might have had 2 here. I can't remember. But we have our dumpster company on call during these evictions. So this was a big mistake on my part. Learned from that one. We still did okay on this flip. But then there's another one similar to this other situation where we had a lot of problems and a lot of issues. And I'll link to this eviction as well below. So if you want to watch this eviction and see how it all went down, I'll link to that below. You can watch it. But you can see it looked like he didn't move a thing. Turns out there were some picture frames and some removed from the walls. You can kind of see that there with all the smoke around them. But he did move. All right, let's check out this other one. This is another wholesale deal. And this is one where a lot of people wanted it, and they actually drew cards to see who got it. And I drew the high card, which I think was a king. So excited until the next couple weeks or a couple months. We bought the house. Another post-occupancy agreement. I think they had $5,000 held back on this one. And was it 10 days or maybe 2 weeks to move? There's no per diem after that. That one was simply, if they didn't move out by the 2 weeks, all the $5,000 was handed over to me. We tried talking to them, tried to see if they're going to move. They wouldn't talk to us, wouldn't respond. After the 2 weeks, they're still there. We got the $5,000, but again, that didn't really cover all the costs of the eviction and time it took. But they did not move anything again. And this was eviction day. On eviction day, they actually had a small U-Haul right there, and you can see our dumpster getting ready. This was a tough one. This had everybody here working most of the day to remove everything, and it was very, very, very dirty. And lots of weird stuff going on. She had 11, 12 cats. Luckily, she got all the cats, and they weren't there. But it was pretty dirty, pretty smelly, lots of stuff, and a lot of time to remove all those things. During the eviction, you're supposed to remove all the personal items. You can leave trash, but that's kind of up to the deputy what is trash and what isn't. So most of the stuff we have to box up, put in trash bags, whatever, move it out. She was there during this eviction, and so you can see all the milk cartons and stuff. It was weird. And we asked her so many times, like, do you want any of this stuff? We find something that seems somewhat valuable. Do you want this? And she's like, nope, didn't want anything. And then later on in the dumpster, she was out there like picking up cans of salsa out of the dumpster. It was not a good situation. Her dad was there helping her. But we did okay on this house as well. After this eviction, fixed it up, sold it. But obviously would have gone a lot better had she just moved out and we didn't have to deal with it. So we have dealt with this situation before. Without a post-occupancy agreement, with a post-occupancy agreement, and these are both situations where they still ended up in evictions. Now we've had other properties we bought with post-occupancy agreements as well that went fine. There was no issues, no problems. No one stayed after. It went just as it's supposed to go. How many of those we've had? A few, not too many. We try to avoid them if we can. But sometimes on these wholesale deals, if you want to get a really good deal, you've got to abide by these terms. And so for the house that I'm buying or bought already, and we're waiting on the people to move, I paid $247,000 for it. Is probably worth in the $380,000 range fixed up. We'll see how much stuff there is left over. Actually, as we go, as I'm making $250 per day and they're moving more stuff, it's good for me as a house flipper that they're moving that stuff and I'm getting paid that money. Now, after the per diem runs out, it won't be quite so good. And if they stop moving stuff, it won't quite be so good. But yeah, it'd be nice if they, took a couple days, got all they could, left. We don't have to go through the eviction. We go through the eviction, we do that process. That costs us a whole lot more money, whole lot more time. We don't want to go that route. Hopefully we don't have to do that. All right. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully that gives you an idea of how this works. Obviously, in a perfect world, you don't do a post-occupancy agreement. If I was an owner-occupant buying a house, it can be very risky, very tricky doing post-occupancy agreements. You really want to make sure you're set up to protect yourself. Like I said, if I wanted to do this myself, I would make it at least a $10,000 holdback, if not more. And you also want to kind of make it, instead of a per diem of $250, either do a big per diem, $500, $1,000, or just make it all due on one date so it really gives them pressure to move out, and hopefully they actually do move out. All right, thank you so much for watching. As I said, we'll have more videos, have an eviction tomorrow, might have some other crazy stuff in another unit tomorrow at the Ocho. We might have an eviction here, or maybe they'll move out. That'd be great. Maybe we'll have some more updates on the office break and the other crazy stuff going on. We'll see about that. And yeah, this is a house that we're happy to sell. That's for sure. All right. Love the likes, love the comments, love the shares. Keep those coming. We'll be back with much more content coming up here soon.